The biggest mobile car crusher operating in Britain was demonstrated near Stratford-on-Avon. As a means of profitably turning abandoned old cars into scrap metal, it's the answer to any local authority's prayer. Not standing on ceremony, the crusher very soon shows who's boss. It's a sad ending for what was a smart car not many years ago, but declined into a useless old crock. Thousands like it now litter the streets and country roads in embarrassing numbers. In fact, about 400,000 cars become derelict every year. At this stage, the hydraulic ram takes over, and the cars really had it. A magnetic lifter takes up the remains. In no more than a few minutes, an old wreck has become saleable scrap metal.
In keeping with the spirit of our metal recycling predecessors in this 1965 video, we show off with old and on with new. So welcome to the BMRA Annual Dinner Virtual Event 2020. We were all disappointed when we had to cancel this year's event at the Royal Lancaster, but hopefully today we shall bring some of your favourite elements direct to your screen. A host of familiar faces, the Lifetime Achievement Award and a raffle for Dream Drops, our charity for 2020. Our event will be a patchwork of question and answer sessions and goodwill wishes from members and friends of the BMRA. A big thank you to everyone who has contributed. We will try and include as many of you as possible. And before you critique us too harshly, please remember we are metal recyclers, not TV presenters. My co-host today will be our CEO, James Kelly, who has been with us since February 2019. Welcome, James.
Thank you, Susie, and hello to all our members. Hopefully we'll be able to meet again in person next year, but in the interim, here's our first video, a message from our Vice President, Shane Mellor.
Hello everyone, Shane Mellor, Managing Director of Mellor Metals Limited over here in Norfolk. I've been actively involved in BMRA for the past 24 years, and I've been an SME board member for the past 14 years. I'm a past president, and I'm your current Vice President. So I'm really disappointed that this year's BMRA annual dinner event has had to be postponed. I know COVID is proving challenging for many of us, but I also know how resilient our trade is. This, coupled with the support that we can get as members of BMRA, will make sure that we are all together again at a BMRA dinner in the future. Thank you for your continued support. Your trade association really does need you.
Thank you, Shane. This year has been truly challenging for the industry, just as we were emerging from years of Brexit uncertainty and looking to leverage better times ahead. COVID-19 has battered consumer demand and played havoc with supply chains on which metal merchants are so reliant. We believe that around 60% of all firms closed, and those who struggled on saw business levels of around 40% of pre-pandemic levels. Some have seen tragedy, with at least 2 operatives who worked for metal merchants sadly having died in the London area. BMRA staff have all been working from home, staying in touch with members, regulators, government and other industry stakeholders on a regular or ad hoc basis as necessary. Communication is key to businesses at the best of times, but even more so at times of crisis. The raft of business assistance from government has been welcome and largely helpful in maintaining workforces, and we've relayed this information to members. The most fundamental of these was the early liaison with DEFRA to clarify that metal recycling would be included in the essential industry designation, allowing BMRA member companies the scope to continue trading if they wish to do so.
Many of you responded to indicate that this support was timely and made a real difference. We appreciate your feedback and are only too glad to provide assistance and clarity in such uncertain times.
Fortunately, despite the difficulties and restrictions, Merchants were and are still managing to export material to China, India, to the Middle East and other overseas markets. And to help us keep these avenues open, we participated in regular meetings during lockdown with our Global Recycling Federation, the Bureau of International Recycling. British recycling associations have been members of BIR since Great Britain was invited to join in 1949, a year after it was founded. Tom Bird, a previous member of the BMRA board, was appointed BIR president in 2019. He's kindly recorded this message for us.
Hello everyone joining BMRA's annual 2020 virtual dinner. As BIR President, Susie Burridge, your President, has asked me to say a few words. Firstly, I'd like to thank BMRA and in particular Susie for the continued support BMRA has given BIR. As you're probably aware, Susie sits on the non-ferrous board of BIR, as well as being heavily involved in the Ambassadors Committee, where she's done an outstanding job promoting the activities of BIR, as well as also flying the flag for BMRA. And I'd also like to say a special thank you as well for the work that BMRA has done in promoting Global Recycling Day and Global Recycling Foundation. Under Susie's leadership, this has been an outstanding success in the United Kingdom. I'm sure we'd much rather all be together in meeting one another at a hotel in London and enjoying the evening, but unfortunately that's just not possible at the moment. And it's been the same for BIR, where we've had to cancel a number of conventions. But I'm looking forward to 2021 with some optimism. And as I've always said, this is a very resilient industry, and I'm sure we'll get through it. It's important that during this time you continue to support your association, BMRA, and also members out there as well at the same time, with BIR as well, working closely together to ensure that your voice is heard at the highest level. I wish you all the success going forward. I hope you have an enjoyable evening wherever you may be. I hope you all keep safe. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all again in the new year at some stage. Thank you, everybody. And once again, a special thank you to BMRA and good luck for the future. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you, Tom, for your kind words, though I'm now blushing. While I compose myself, here's goodwill messages from two of our board members.
Hi, Nigel O'Gorman of FJ Church and a BMRA board member. It's obviously a shame that we're unable to have a dinner this year, but totally understandable given the circumstances. I look forward to catching up with everybody next year at what I always believe to be one of the highlights of the calendar. In the meantime, I hope you're all well and please stay safe.
Hi, Adrian Dodds here from Sackers in Ipswich. We're a company that's nearly 100 years old now. I've been working in the family business for best part of 43 years. I joined here in 77 when I left school and worked in this industry ever since. I'm a board member of the BMRA and have been so since for 10 years now, since 2010, and previous to that I was working on subcommittees at the BMRA, and before that I was the last acting president of the Southern Metals Association back in 1999 to 2002. We've had a bit of a rough time in the industry over this year. It's been strange times for everyone, but we're getting some sort of normality back again, but obviously now going into another lockdown, we wonder what's going to go on, but we're a resilient industry, so we'll all crack on. We'll carry on and we'll just deal with everything that goes on. So look, I wish all BMRA members the very, very best for the rest of this year, and let's look forward to a better 2021. So have a good year and have a good virtual Christmas dinner or annual dinner. Cheerio.
At the AGM in June, we were pleased to welcome two new board members, Stephen Robertson of John Brocklesby and Ian Shepherd of EMR. As well as the board, the BMRA now has 7 subcommittees and groups: the Legislation and Policy Group, the Scottish Policy Group, Membership and Communications, Health and Safety, VAT, Young British Metal Recyclers for those under 35, and the soon-to-be-convened Education and Training Committee.
all populated by BMRA members, as one company cannot influence, but as an industry we can. The BMRA continues to push government to fund the enforcement of all regulations and to tackle metal theft and cash-paying yards. To tell us more, I'm pleased to welcome Mark Vaughan, Chair of the Legislation and Policy Group, to tell us about the role of the LPG.
The committee is tasked with identifying the main areas of national, European and international legislation that impacts on the sector, taking a proactive approach to influence the decision-making processes to protect the interests of BMRA members on a national level. It also provides a sounding board for our representatives within our European Confederation, EURIC, on European matters.
Mark, can you tell us what the Legislation and Policy Group has achieved to date?
Over the years, the committee has helped BMRA achieve a great deal in a number of key areas. Recently, it has helped ensure sensible outcomes for shredder operators as they come into the scope of the Industrial Emissions Directive. We've enabled fruitful discussions with the EAA on sector-specific guidance for fire prevention plans, demonstrating that depolluted end-of-life vehicles remain non-hazardous and non-POPs waste despite a shifting waste classification policy, helping secure workable, permissible limits for flame retardants in recovered durable plastics.
And what are you working on now? What are the big issues?
2019 to 2020 has been a period of waste classification. This time last year, we had successfully navigated the world of brominated flame retardants in ELV plastics and are now actively seeking to ensure that non-WEEE waste cables can continue to be recycled despite their probable hazardous waste status. Before COVID struck, we were about to commence a 6-month sampling programme to determine the waste classification status of shredder residue. We are hopeful that work on this will start in the new year. We are also helping to inform the provision of the ELV directive, promote the circular economy and assisting our European and international colleagues at EURIC and the BIR on the amendments to the Basel Convention, including the proposed new definition of recycling, a term at the very heart of what our members do.
Mark, can you tell us please, what is the best thing about being a member of the LPG?
Being at the heart of a truly sustainable business sector here in the UK, the BMRA provides a platform to engage with both members and stakeholders to develop our sector for future generations.
As metal recycling in Scotland is not overseen by the same regulators as England and Wales, a decision was made within the BMRA a few years back to form a separate Scottish policy group. So Ray, please introduce yourself.
I'm Ray Grant, I'm the Environmental Director of the John Norrie Group and I'm the Chair of the Scottish Policy Group.
Ray, please can you tell us what's the role of the SPG?
The Scottish Policy Group was set up as a subgroup to the LPG around 5 years ago in order to address issues specific to Scotland, both regulatory through SEPA and legislative through Holyrood. We also look at business-related issues that are again specific to Scotland, such as material flows and the like.
Ray, as a group, what do you think your main achievements have been?
Well, Scotland is not covered by the Scrap Metal Dealers Act, but we do have our own legislation, the Air Weapons and Licensing Scotland Act, which was implemented in 2015. As a group, we work very closely with the British Transport Police, Police Scotland, Scottish Government and SEPA to inform the wording of this Act. In fact, we helped draft supplementary guidance that was used by members and the police alike. More recently, we have been working on waste shipment issues and we are continuing to push for a national register of scrap metal dealers. We've also assisted SEPA in the development of their metal recycling sector plan and more recently, the oil and gas decommissioning sector plan. all of which contributes to the Scottish Government's aims of the development of a circular economy and ultimately achieving Scotland's aim of a net zero emissions target, which I believe our industry is at the forefront of. Going forward, while COVID-19 has prevented us from meeting face to face, we remain committed to supporting Mark and what the wider LPG is doing on waste classification and legacy additives by liaising with SEPA. These are on issues where geographic location makes no difference as they apply throughout the UK.
And what would you say is the best thing about being a member of the Scottish Policy Group?
I think having the opportunity to influence and shape forthcoming regulation and legislative changes at an early stage through discussion with all stakeholders is invaluable to our industry. Otherwise, there's a high chance we would be left with poor or impractical outcomes that would make it difficult for us to operate to and remain within the boundaries of our licences and permits, which, let's face it, is often a big enough challenge as it is. Being a member of the SPG also enables us to develop a good working understanding and relationship with our regulators and stakeholders, and of course our industry colleagues throughout Scotland, all of which helps to promote trust and best practice. We may not always get what we wish, but better to be in the discussions than not. In conclusion, I would just like to pay thanks to all the SPG members who willingly give up their time and share their collective knowledge and experience, and of course the BMRA executive team. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. And now we have a goodwill message from one of Ray's fellow SPG members and my fellow board member.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sandra Robertson of Robertson Metals Recycling. We operate from 2 sites in the east coast of Scotland, in Dundee and in Inverkeithing. And today I'm in Inverkeithing, where we run one of the 3 remaining shredders operating out of Scotland. I've been a board member of the BMRA since March 2019 and a member of the Scottish Policy Legislative Group since 2015. It's very unfortunate that we're unable to meet in person today. However, I'm delighted to be part of this virtual lunch. Like many members of the BMRA, we're a family-run business, and we're proud of the fact that generations past and generations for the future work in a key industry that's vital for the UK and global economy. It's without doubt a resilient industry, which has been tested more than any this year through the global pandemic. Family businesses are known for supporting their employees through difficult times, and in return, they're rewarded by their staff's commitment. And we at Robertson Metals have seen this in abundance this year. Who knows what 2021 will bring? However, we have to remain confident in our businesses and in the determination of the industry to continue with the support of the BMRA. So enjoy the lunch and all the best for the future. Stay safe, calm, and let's carry on.
Thank you, Sandra, for your wise words. Please remember that if you need it, the BMRA provides free advice to all of its members on technical, regulatory and environmental issues.
Some of you may recall that a few years back, representatives from EMR, Sims Metal Management, ELG Hannell, S Norton & Co, Recycling Lives, Mela Metals, Recycled Products, Sackers and Wards joined together to form an apprentice trailblazer group. Their hard work was rewarded in 2019 when the BMRA won the National Recycling Award for Excellence in Learning and Development.
We'd like to build on this success with a dedicated education and training subcommittee. Here's Antonia Gray from our Secretariat team to tell you more.
The Education and Training Committee is our newest committee. We haven't had our first meeting. The committee aims to build upon the work of the Trailblazer Group, who developed and launched 2 sector-specific apprenticeships, the Metal Recycling General Operative, MRGO, and the Metal Recycling Technical Manager, MRTM. But before we look to the future, why don't we hear from some of our apprentices who went through the MRGO? First up, Liam from Sims Metal Management.
I wanted to take part in the apprenticeship because I wanted to learn more about the metal recycling industry and the different laws with health and safety and the Environmental Protection Act. I also wanted to learn about the different types of roles on site and basically gain myself and further myself in the metal recycling industry.
And here's Christopher of Recycled Products to tell you about some of the elements he studied.
In the MRGO apprenticeship, we've also studied the Health and Safety at Work Act, the Scrap Metal Dealers Act and the Environmental Protection Act. It's also helped me achieve my qualifications, my MPAWS qualifications for the telehandler forklift and a 360 grab, which I'm really pleased about.
Henry of Recycled Products, what was your favourite thing that you studied?
One of my favourite parts of our course was the firefighting day in Birmingham. We went up to a fire station and we learnt all different techniques how to put fires out in all different situations, and we learnt out about all the different fire extinguishers and what puts out what type of fire.
And finally, John from Sims Metal Management, what's your advice for future learners?
The advice I'd give to any future apprentices is give it a go. You might surprise yourself and never give up.
I would now like to invite Chris Williams to the screen to tell you a little bit more.
Hello everybody, my name's Chris Williams. I'm one of the members of our Trailblazing Working Group that works within the metal recycling sector. The Trailblazing Working Group is made up of many members from organisations, small, medium and large, and with your help we have helped develop our very first sector-specific suite of apprenticeships. I say a suite of apprenticeships, we've actually developed two, but two nonetheless they're really significant, and I say that for a number of reasons really. In particular the Metal Recycling General Operative, which is a level 2 qualification and has got core and 5 options, and then most recently the Metal Recycling Technical Managers qualification. Some people have said it's a bit of a game changer, but for me and for members of the team that have helped put this together, we firmly believe that this will set the landscape for how we get our technically competent managers throughout this sector, as opposed to going down the WAMI-TAB route. Now the interesting thing is that both of these apprenticeships are now 95% funded. That's 95% contribution from the government towards a £9,000 and £12,000 apprenticeship programme. I've been doing this for a very long time, and that's the first time I can honestly say I've ever seen such a contribution from government. And also, if you were to take an apprentice between now and January of next year, you could receive a grant, an additional grant to the 95%. These apprenticeships, these standards as they come, but these apprenticeships, they're really important to us as a sector. Like I said earlier, that the Metal Recycling General Operative Apprenticeship was the very first apprenticeship programme we ever had for this sector. In fact, in 2019, we managed to scoop an award for it at the National Recycling Awards in London, 2019. That was a very good day, very good evening, in fact. And with lots of things, especially when developing standards and apprenticeships, especially when government involved, there is multiple challenges along the way. And it's really unfortunate that I must make you all aware today that we've had a significant challenge from government. A challenge in that they believe our Metal Recycling General Operative Apprenticeship, the one that we won that award for, they believe that we as a sector don't really want that. And they can only validate that by based on numbers. We just haven't had the numbers come through. In fact, in 2019, and I know it's been a difficult year, quite an awful year in fact, we've had nobody come through at all. Now, I know that this sector always rises to any challenges, and I know that you will get behind our apprenticeships. And I firmly believe that in the next 6 months and 12 months, the numbers are going to go up significantly. And like everybody on this call, we value our apprenticeships, we really do. So let's keep our apprenticeships alive. If you do need help, regardless of what it is, just a question about which apprenticeship or what funding looks like, speak to any of the Trailblazers members. Speak to your education committee advisor. speak to the BMRA, pick the phone up to Met Academy and speak to Patrick and the team. But let's work together. Collaborative working together is what is going to make our apprenticeship programmes a success. Thank you very much for your time today. I really look forward to this time next year when we can celebrate some future successes, future apprenticeships throughout our own sector. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. And yes, please do get in touch with me if you want to know anything more about apprenticeships. As I said at the start of this section, we hope to convene the new Education and Training Committee soon. The committee is going to be looking to identify online and in-person training opportunities for members, like our electric ELV course, which shows you how to safely remove batteries from cars. If you know any courses and would like to recommend them to us, please do get in touch with me. We're also looking for volunteers, so if you're interested or you'd like to nominate someone, again, get in touch. We really hope the committee can continue the great work done by the Trailblazer Group in launching our 2 new great sector-specific apprenticeships.
As the MD of an SME who has to date employed and mentored 2 MRGO apprentices, I can fully endorse this course. Their knowledge and confidence has skyrocketed, and the rest of my staff team really have been boosted by their enthusiasm. With all the incentives now available, there really hasn't been a better time to employ an apprentice. And if we don't use it, we will lose it. So if you're thinking about employing an apprentice, please sign up sooner rather than later.
Whether they are apprentices or not, employees of member companies under 35 can join free of charge our Young British Metal Recyclers group. As well as developing their networks, YBMR gives members learning and development opportunities to improve their career progression. The YBMR is co-chaired by Hayley Mellor of Mellor Metals and James Nichols of CF Booth Limited. Hayley and James have kindly agreed to join us today and answer a few questions about the YBMR.
Hayley, you have been co-chair of the Young British Metals Recyclers group since it started. Can you tell me, please, what the role of the YBMR is?
The role of the YBMR is to bring together those of us who are 35 and under from BMRA companies. It gives us opportunities to network with each other and also to see and do things that we wouldn't ordinarily do on a day-to-day basis. We organise trips to industry associated companies, and we also offer training that might develop your career. The group currently has around 40 members whom we keep in touch with on a regular basis. We also have a WhatsApp group so that we can make sure we stay connected to our members. But we're always looking for new and other ways to engage and keep in touch with our YBMR members.
What trips have you been on?
Since the YBMR started, the group has enjoyed a number of visits to different organisations within the metallurgy sector, which then gives us an insight to the wider industry. Visits have included tours to the London Metal Exchange, ELG Haniel's facilities in Sheffield, William Cook Cast Products, Liebherr, and also a trip to the AMRC. Training has included the fundamentals of metallurgy, and we've also had a session from BMRA's HR partner Krona about managing people in the workplace. We've also met socially, such as a day at the races. The COVID-19 pandemic has had an impact on the ability for YBMR to meet, but we are looking forward to seeing everyone as soon as it's safe to do so.
What attracted you to joining YBMR?
Being part of a small family business means that there's processes and parts of the metal supply chain that I wouldn't normally get access to. You can learn so much from attending these trips and training seminars, but most importantly, it's meeting people from other companies, learning from them and making new connections for the future.
Thanks, Hayley. I wish I could be a YBMR member, but for those under 35, James, can you tell us how they get involved?
To get involved with the BMRA is easy. All you need to do is speak to the Secretariat. As long as your company or organisation is a member, be that service, ordinary or international.
Thanks, James. And for those still contemplating, what is the best thing about being a member?
I believe that one of the best things about being a BMRA member is that we are the future of metal recycling. As if, like myself, you work for a family business, it is great to start early and get involved and support your trade association.
One of our newest committees is the VAT committee. That's chaired by Nigel O'Gorman. So I'd like to invite Nigel on screen to tell us why it was established.
Well, the committee was set up last year to investigate and hopefully tackle the issue of VAT fraud in the metals industry. There are two main types of VAT fraud, carousel and missing trader. And we wanted to make the members aware of both of these and also how HMRC acts in these cases.
Do tell us more.
Furthermore, we've been gathering evidence with the view to trying to get reverse charge VAT introduced for the metals recycling sector. However, with both Brexit and the government's push towards a greener economy, we're now looking into the possibility of having VAT removed on all scrap.
Nigel, in the short time the VAT committee has been convened, what has the committee achieved to date?
Well, we've issued two pieces of guidance, one for the members and one for external stakeholders. These look into the different types of VAT fraud, how they operate and how best to identify them. We've also suggested actions that members can take in order to reduce their risk, such as know your customer checks. The guidance details the concepts of joint and several liability and their associated risks. We're also talking to an online service provider who offer enhanced due diligence checks with a view to giving the membership access to their database.
So, if one of our members are considering joining the VAT committee, Nigel, what would you say is of personal benefit for them?
Well, I think one of the benefits, as well as obviously becoming more involved in the association and seeing how it operates, is that you get to actually be on a committee that's hoping to actually influence government and change something that affects our industry in a bad way, in an adverse way. And it gives you the opportunity of perhaps being able to make a change that would benefit the whole membership.
Thanks, Nigel.
Susie, as well as being BMRA President and chairing the board, you also chair the Membership and Communications Subcommittee. How did that come about?
At the annual dinner 2015, the infamous one featuring Nookie Bear, the then President Shane Mellor asked if I would chair the soon-to-be-formed Membership Committee. I eagerly agreed, only for him to respond, "That's great! Oh, and by the way, we want you to take over as President in June." Anyway, as they say, the rest is history. We formed the Membership Committee in 2016 and later expanded it to include communications as well. I've been joined on the committee by some of our wonderful members, some of whom I would like to introduce you to now and invite them to tell you about our fabulous Membership and Comms Committee.
Hi everyone, I'm Joss Francis from Global Metals Network, a worldwide non-ferrous trading business. I'm also a member of the Membership and Communications Committee with the BMRA. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at public speaking, and I'm going to bumble my way through this interview, a bit like Boris does his press conferences. So as part of a member of the Communications and Membership Committee, we help to promote and engage new and existing members of the BMRA. We organise the annual dinner, golf days, trips to the LME, going horse racing and other events to bring us all together and have a bit of fun and a few drinks and a giggle. This year, sadly, it hasn't been possible due to the crazy COVID crisis, and we really miss seeing you all. It's been such a shame that we can't have these events this year, but everyone has to stay safe.
Thanks, Joss, you did great. Over to Donna. Donna, are you there?
Hi, I'm Donna from Rogers Mill Management. I'm also on the BMRA Membership and Comms Committee. And it looks like my comms are going to get strange this year. I'm here at the Royal Lancaster, ready to check in, but it appears I'm about a year early. So on the back of that, I just want to wish you all a very happy and safe Christmas from all of us at Rogers Mill Management. Bye.
And Tony, can you tell us about the events?
Yes, we introduced the Golf Day, which has been well received by the membership. We've taken the decision to annually move the event around the country, visiting different courses to enable as many members as possible to get involved. Sadly, we were unable to get to Scotland this year, but as soon as we're able, we'll be there for the next golf day. We moved the annual dinner to London, and one of the perks of being a member of this committee is that you get the opportunity to attend the food tasting at the Royal Lancaster, which consists of 5 starters, 5 mains and 5 desserts, as well as sampling the wines. It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it. I've also hosted 2 trips to the LME, and Sue has organised 2 fantastic days at the races.
And Sue, can you tell us about the BMRA publications we've introduced?
We introduced Scrapbook, our hard copy newsletter, which we print and post out to members' yards. This has been very well received, with members liking having something to pick up and read. It covers what's happening at the BMRA, support and advice for members, in a range of areas such as legislation, regulation, environmental issues that all of our businesses may require assistance with. Members also regularly receive our emailed fragments with news of our industry and guidance, which can be ever-changing. We oversaw the production of the BMRA Centenary Book, 100 Years in Metal Recycling, that many members got involved with, a celebration of our rich heritage. We also oversee the BMRA website.
I'm glad you mentioned the website, Sue, as here to give us a whistle-stop tour of the website is BMRA Communications Executive Kate McGill.
Hello, this is Kate from the BMRA with a whistle-stop tour of the BMRA website. This is the homepage, accessible via www.recyclemetals.org, or you can find it via a search engine. As you can see, there is a variety of content accessible from the homepage, including latest news, service members and equipment sales. Along the top, there is access to more content for both members and the general public, such as information about the BMRA, metal theft alerts, and why recycle. 2 of the most important areas of the website are the metal recycler directory and the service member directory. These enable the public and members alike to search for a BMRA member metal recycler in their area, or a member to locate a service that they may require. We talk about it a lot, but this is a very strong tool on the BMRA website as it can promote your business and is found by search engines like Google. The directories in the last year were used nearly 60,000 times. You can search by both location and keyword, so it is well worth ensuring that your details are up to date. Another key area is the members area. If you haven't logged in before, this is how you do it. You click login, put in your registered email address and password. If you're not sure you have access, get in touch with BMRA via admin@recyclemetals.org. If you have forgotten your password, you can click on Forgot and reset it. Don't forget to check your junk mail for the reset email. Once in the area, you will gain access to member-only content and supporting material. All of the BMRA bulletins are here, so if you have missed one, you can find it again. If you don't think you are receiving BMRA bulletins via email, get in touch and we will do our best to help you get them. Try checking your junk mail, and if they are there, add the address to your safe sender list, as we currently send bulletins via MailChimp. You can also have access to coronavirus updates, along with the updated health and safety manual. You can also access the resource library, which has a breadth of member-only content and information. You can browse by topic, or we also have key highlights here at the top of the page. If you can't find what you're looking for or have a comment on the members area, the only way we can improve it is with your feedback, so do get in touch. Again, if you need help logging in or want more information, please email admin@recyclemetals.org. Thank you.
We really do need your feedback. It's the only way we can improve. And now, to tell you why it's good to be a member of the Mems and Comms Committee, here's Nathan.
Hi everyone, my name is Nathan Pidgley, Managing Director of Total Metal Recycling Limited. The best thing about being a member of the Membership and Communications Committee is sharing different thoughts and ideas with other members about past and upcoming events that the BMRA holds, which is allowing us as members to keep the high standards that our fantastic association has. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, I'm back. As if one video wasn't bad enough, you get me again. I've got a bit of a script this time, so hopefully I won't bumble quite as much. Anyway, new faces are always welcome at the Membership and Communications Committee. So if you would like to join us, please contact Susie or the BMRA Secretariat to help us fulfil our aim of making members aware of the great offerings and benefits of the BMRA. We meet 4 times a year, traditionally, at the headquarters near Huntington in Cambridgeshire. This year has taught us that we can do Zoom meetings and virtual meetings. So maybe going forward, we'll have a combination of the two. It's always good to see people face to face though. If you can't commit the time, there are loads of ways you can support us. This includes our events, donating raffle prizes, and most importantly, following and interacting with us on the social media channels, such as Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Anyway, enough of me now. Stay safe, everyone, and look forward to seeing you all in the new year. Bye.
And we look forward to seeing you, Joss.
Now, to tell us about the Health and Safety Committee, I'd like to invite BMRA Technical Director Howard Bluck to the screen. Howard, please can you tell us what the role of the Health and Safety Subcommittee is?
So the committee is there to promote health and safety in the metal recycling industry and to disseminate and encourage best practice and standards. We capture accident statistics and campaign for improving the sector's safety performance.
Howard, the committee hasn't held any meetings for a while, but what have you been working on in the interim?
Although the committee has been on a hiatus, we completed a comprehensive review of the BMRA's Health and Safety Manual. The manual, which has long been an invaluable resource for members, has recently begun to be rolled out and is accompanied by a new series of posters that focus on key health and safety issues found at metal recycling sites. So far, we have published 3 parts of the manual covering health and safety administration, occupational health and safety, and dealing with radioactive sources. 2 posters have already been issued covering gas cylinders in scrap and radiation.
Yes, I've got mine displayed, thank you. And what are you working on now?
We are continuing to work on the manual. The next section is expected to be published very soon with an accompanying poster on batteries and battery safety. These will be followed by the remaining sections of the manual and further posters that will include banksman safety, PPE and working at height. Antonia Gray also represents the interests of metal recyclers on the Wish Forum, where she is a vice chair of the main group and a regular contributor to their Safer Workplaces subgroup. In addition, working alongside the Education and Training Committee, we work with training providers to identify new health and safety focused training and educational materials and courses, contextualised for the metal recycling industry wherever possible.
I understand we're looking for some new members for this committee, Howard, so please tell us, how do people get involved?
Just get in touch. We would really like to hear from those people who are responsible for member companies' health and safety portfolio.
Thank you, Howard.
Back in January, when we could travel, Howard and I, along with Murat Bayram of EMR, were invited by Emmanuel Katriakis, Secretary-General of EURIC, to attend a meeting at the European Commission with Peter Handley, Head of Unit of Resource Efficiency and Raw Materials.
Yes, despite Brexit, our industry still needs a toe in the European door, and the BMRA will continue to work with EURIC to make sure that our voice continues to be heard. Here is Emmanuel to tell you more.
Good evening, colleagues and friends from the BMRA. My name is Emmanuel Katrakis. I'm the Secretary General of EURIC, the European Recycling Confederation, based in Brussels. Starting with the most important, I would like to extend my immense gratitude to the BMRA for the excellent cooperation we've had in 2020, as in all the past years. In difficult times, for our families and businesses, working with dedicated professionals to advocate recyclers' interests is overly important. I would like to thank your President, Susie Burridge, who is also the President of EURIC Non-Ferrous Metal Trade and Recycling Branch, as well as the entire BMRA team, namely Howard Block, also board member of Zurich, Antonia Gray, Lynn Sheridan, and Kate McGill for the amazing work they are doing under the leadership of James Kelly. While we have now entered into the second wave of the pandemic with more lockdowns across Europe, the role of recycling federations is more important than ever. Why? Because in crisis situations, being strong, united and swift to advocate our interests is a key success factor. Zurich, in close cooperation with our members, including the BMRA, has been the first recycling federation to release a statement highlighting the essential role played by the recycling industry for the economy and society as a whole. This proved to be instrumental in ensuring that governments across Europe have kept our facilities opened to a wide extent. Also, despite or because of COVID, greening the economy has become for policymakers a top priority. This comes with risks, but also genuine opportunities. Allow me to take two examples. First, since recycling is the enabler of a more circular economy, everyone today wants to be a recycler. The BMRA and all Zurich members across Europe represent recyclers, turning waste into valuable resources, not only since the circular economy has become the new mantra, but for decades. The very definition of recycling is being challenged, with a proposal initially published by the European Commission that was dismissing mechanical treatment from being a recycling operation at European level. Thanks to the constructive relation Zurich has with European institutions and the decisive actions we took immediately, this is no longer part of the proposal. But we remain extremely cautious of the final outcome, working closely with the BMRA and BR as negotiations are continuing at international level. The second and main risk has much to do with the extended use by policymakers of the precautionary principle. Let me make it a bit simpler. Instead of looking at risks, chemical laws are increasingly looking at potential hazards. In practice, such an approach can result in reclassifying entire resource streams like copper cables as hazardous, with massive negative impacts given the enormous CO2 and energy saving stemming from scrap metal recycling. The work, not always easy to communicate, done with BMRA on highly technical matters to prevent such reclassifications is simply vital. Last but not least, it's impossible not to mention Brexit. While we expect things to change, Zurich will continue working hand in hand with the BMRA to mitigate its impact and uphold free and fair trade. I would like to conclude as a starting by warmly thanking the BMRA for its support and in particular your extra contributions, which year after year have greatly contributed to the steady development of Zurich. Thank you very much for that. I also want to thank you for the work you are doing every day as recyclers, proving once again that the recycling industry is resilient, essential for our economy, and intrinsically resource and climate efficient. Though we are now getting used to virtual meetings, I very much look forward to next year, to the next BMRA dinner, to be with you in person. Stay safe.
Thank you, Emmanuel. And of course, our voice also needs to be heard on the global stage, so I'm delighted to present to you this video message.
Good evening, friends from BMRA, and greetings from Brussels. My name is Arnaud Brunet, and I am the Director General of BIR, the Global Federation of Recycling Industries. It's a pleasure to be able to talk to you tonight. Even if I deeply regret that we cannot meet in person, I would have loved to join you in London again and enjoy with you a lovely evening and dinner. But we know that 2020 is exceptional and that this COVID-19 pandemic makes it very brutal for our families, our friends, our economies and our industry. We are now facing a severe second wave in UK, in Europe, and in other regions of the world, which means new restrictions in our daily lives. However, since the beginning of the pandemic, BIR is on the deck, supporting our members wherever they are, supporting our national associations such as BMRA, providing useful information to our members and advocating our positions at the highest level of international and national organizations. Let me take 3 examples. First, BIR continues to fight at the UN and the Basel Convention for what is apparently a simple definition problem: who is a recycler? But we know that the answer to that simple question is vital for our future in the industry. Another example, at the beginning of the pandemic, we made sure that around the globe, governments recognized that recycling businesses are essential activities, which means giving us the ability to continue to do business. Last example, during the lockdown period, we have supported our Indian colleagues of BMRA so that the Indian authorities reopened the ports, making the Indian market open again. All those battles cannot be won without the support and cooperation of our national associations, including, of course, BMRA. Free and fair international trade. This is the mantra of BIR, and we know how important this is for the British scrap metal industry. Tom Bird, the BIR president, has already sent you a message of optimism, and I totally share it. We all know that our industry is resilient, agile, and flexible. Today, we see positive signs from different regions of the world, and in particular Asia, which is almost resuming with a normal life. We truly believe in better days in 2021. Dear friends of BMRA, a last word. Be confident that your association, under the great leadership of Susie Burrage, together with BIR in its role of Global Federation, care about you and your future and defend your interests. But for now, let me simply tell you, as a friend, that I can't wait to meet in person again in 2021. Enjoy this virtual dinner, and goodbye.
Thank you, Arno. And I must say, I loved your marimba jingle. I was very privileged this year to be asked by BIR to take part in their opening session of their World Recycling Convention Week in October. And here is one of our past presidents, Michael Lyon, to tell you more.
Hello, members and guests of the 2020 BMRA Virtual Annual Dinner. Your President, Susie Burrage, has kindly invited me to record this goodwill message. This invitation is especially meaningful to me as a former president, back in the mists of time, of the British Secondary Metals Association, the BSMA, one of the founder associations of today's wonderful voice of British recycling, the BMRA. Recently, the BIR, of which the BMRA is a very valued trade association member, held a virtual convention week, and I, in my role as chairman of the International Trade Council of the BIR, had the pleasure and privilege of interviewing Susie Burrage in our opening session of the week, entitled Spotlight on Global Trade, Leadership in an Economic and Pandemic Challenged World. Your President Susie displayed and illustrated in her highly successful and engaging interview her qualities of professionalism, intellect, knowledge, and above all, passion for the recycling industry that have made her such a marvellous president of the BMRA, and also in her roles as BIR ambassador for the UK and board member of the BIR non-ferrous division, which she is both an increasingly influential and an iconic advocate as one of the upcoming generation of leadership for the BIR as the global voice of recycling. I know we all wish that we could be celebrating the annual dinner in person with the friendship, networking and fun that's always been the hallmark of the annual dinners, to say nothing of its impact on the wine cellar and bar stocks of the hotel. Hopefully next year it will once again be possible to celebrate in person. For now, please stay safe and healthy, and meanwhile, perhaps wherever you are right now, you will join with me in raising a glass to the continued success and prosperity of the BMRA.
Cheers, Michael. Now, one of the elements of the BMRA which has received much acclaim is our command of social media. If you aren't already following us, here is Kate to give you an overview of our social media channels.
Thank you. So, BMRA's social media channels. We currently use Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We share all of BMRA's news on these channels, as well as interact with members, other associations, the public, and other key stakeholders. We are easy to search for in each of the platforms, either by using BMRA UK or British Metals Recycling Association. You may have seen that we do a member showcase where we link to each member's page on the BMRA website, your location where possible, and use the hashtags scrap metal and metal recycling. This is a great way to promote members. If a member of the public ever search for on one of these platforms looking for a metal recycler or a service member in their area, hopefully that it can help them find you. We also share your news via social media. Send us your press releases, do a case study with us as to why you are a member, send us your unusual finds, enter the photographic competition, do a life on the yard. It's endless. These are very popular posts and promote your business. We also share a lot of stats about the industry, which is very popular. So do like and share these posts. We want as many people to know about how great metal recycling is as possible. So that's Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So don't forget to follow and like us, but most importantly, share your news with us.
Back in July, the Bureau of Middle East Recycling invited us to host their first virtual conference. Susie undertook the job on our behalf, and we've received this message of goodwill from their president.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nasser Aboura, President of the Bureau of Middle East Recycling Associations. Talking to you from Dubai with a beautiful sunny day, although I am indoor. I was enjoying the swimming pool this morning. On behalf of myself and BMR, I want to congratulate BMRA for having their virtual annual dinner. Unfortunately, I could not be able to be meeting with you personally with the actual physical event. I hope you enjoy this event today, and we look forward to be able to meet personally with you in the very near future. In the meantime, please all take care, stay safe, and looking forward one more time to meet with you. Enjoy the day.
Thank you, Nasser. No presentation from our global partners would be complete without a few words from Isri.
Hello, I'm honored to be able to join you virtually today at BMRA's annual dinner program to share a message of friendship from ISRI Chair Gary Champlin, myself, and all the members of ISRI. While this is certainly a very difficult and uncertain time for all of us around the globe, both personally and professionally, it is events such as the one you're having now that reminds me of the wonderful global community that is recycling, and the importance of all of us continuing to find ways to come together and collaborate on those issues of importance to all of us. As president of ISRI, I had the unique opportunity to attend your annual dinner around the time BMRA was being formed from the merger of the British Secondary Metals Association and the British Metals Federation. ISRI had gone through a similar merger only 15 years earlier, and the shared experiences of creating a new organization to better serve a rapidly changing recycling industry was the first of many shared experiences and priorities between ISRI and BMRA. Workplace safety, metals theft, workforce development, market access, and the recognition of scrap as a valuable resource are among the many shared priorities of ISRI and BMRA. So it's with that I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Susie, James, Antonia, and the entire team at BMRA for your leadership and shared commitment to the advancement of the recycling industry and its role as an essential industry in the United States, in the United Kingdom, and throughout the global economy. While the global pandemic prevents me from being with you today in person, please know how much I look forward to the time when we can all meet again to collaborate, learn from each other, and strengthen our friendships. In the meantime, I wish BMRA a very successful program today, and most importantly, I wish each of you, your colleagues, and your families a very safe and healthy year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin, and we look forward to you joining us at one of our future events. In 2016, Shane Mellor and I attended an ISRI conference in Las Vegas. Yes, it's tough being president. And we attended ISRI's Lifetime Achievement Award ceremony, and an idea was born. I'm delighted to say we are now in our 5th year of presenting BMRA Lifetime Achievement Awards in recognition of outstanding contributions to our metal recycling industry.
The recipients are nominated by you, their fellow recyclers, so don't forget to send in your nominations for 2021.
This year, I'm thrilled to say the recipient of the 2020 BMRA Lifetime Achievement Award is Mr. Adrian Dodds of Sackers, a very worthy recipient.
Congratulations, Adrian.
Just before the latest lockdown, Shane undertook the honoured duty of presenting the award to Adrian and conducted a question and answer session with him. Here it is.
Unfortunately, Susie was unable to perform this honour, the Lifetime Achievement Award. This year it's gone to Adrian Dodds, who's been in our business for nearly 45 years. He's been an excellent ambassador of the BMRA, and so I've come to site today to present him with the Lifetime Achievement Award.
So Adrian, I thought we'd break the tradition a bit here. Normally I'd stand up at the dinner and give a speech.
Yes.
And then you'd come up and have your award and be respond to that. So I thought, well, we've got you, a man with lifetime achievements, that we would do a bit of a Q&A with you.
Fantastic.
So can you tell me about how you your earliest scrapyard recollection? How you been in that?
Yeah, this is very strange. Normally you have a glass of red wine in front of us as well, wouldn't we, in London. But no, this is a great one. Thank you very much. But my earliest recollections is the yard. I remember Dad being in the trade, obviously as a very young boy, when he was working for Sydney Sacker at the time. Dad bought the business in the early 70s, 71, 72. And I've always gone down, even when I was at school, you know, after school I'd walk around to the yard, see Dad and see what he's up to. That's my earliest recollections, going in there. And then one day, myself and a friend of mine at school, we went in there and we found this old Vespa scooter. I said, oh, can we have that? We'll get this going. And we took it back to his house, which was round the corner, and got this old little scooter going. We were about 13, 14 at the time, I suppose. But yeah, we used to ride that around the woods, etc. So yeah, that's the earliest recollection. Getting something out and reusing it. But we probably sold it back to my dad as well.
Did you make a profit?
Probably not. Probably not. No.
Oh dear. So what area of the trade attracted you to sort of make it your career? Was it just the family side of it, or?
It's a family side, and different to where we are now as a family company. You know, Dad, when he bought the company, bought literally one small yard at Riverside Road. And I know that, Shane, you probably remember that place as well from years gone by as well. And it was a tiny, tiny little yard, and we had 4 or 5 people working for us. And you know, I left school at 16, and my first job, walked into there with a pair of overalls. I was proud in my new overalls, and Dad handed me a brush, said, right, first job, sweep that driveway. And that was my first job.
So it was a trigger moment.
The trigger moment, this is the right thing. But no, I loved, you know, even in the old days, the machines, the lorries, you know, Dad was instrumental in getting skip lorries in the trade years ago. And he kept saying to David Myers, who was his boss at the time, we've got to get a skip lorry, we've got to get a skip lorry. And when they eventually got one, you know, I remember my dad saying, he said, you always remember David Myers saying, That's a good idea of mine. Here's not my dad. But anyway, the skip lorries, I love the skip lorries, I love the cranes. The old high-mat cranes we had, sort of jumping on those 16, and Ray Howard, the guy in the yard, teaching me how to drive one of these. Loved every aspect of it, cutting, gas cutting. And it was a simple business back then, simple business, nice bit of steel coming in. The old diesel hand croppers, we used to cut short steel. Every town and every in this country used to have 2 or 3 foundries, and we all did it. We had the proper steel that we sold to the foundries and proper cast iron, etc., which doesn't happen there, does it?
No.
Yeah.
So I know back in the day it was common practice for family businesses to have arrangement with far-flung scrapyards that their offspring would be to go and be initiated in the scrap trade and learn the business a bit further away.
Yeah.
And I know that you were at Thomas Hill.
Yes.
So how was your experience there, and how did you find that beneficial?
It was incredible. So, straight after school, I did a year at college, and a little bit of sort of office studies, business studies, so to speak. But that was a bit of a break, but still working at weekends. But then Dad said, "Right, you're going to Derby. You're going to Thomas Hills, Mansfield Road, and we've got you a room at the YMCA at London Road, which." So happened to be across the road from a navigation pub, which was quite handy. And then a Monday morning, off I went, drove down the Mansfield Road into Thomas Hill, started work for a year's apprenticeship, as we probably called it then. Said, right, okay, you're here to learn about certain aspects of the trade.
Yeah. So that was a good grounding experience for you to be away from the.
It's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
It's the only way to do it. You know, I wouldn't have learnt as much had I stayed at Riverside Road. Obviously it was a long time before we bought this yard. Had I stayed at Riverside Road, I wouldn't have learned life experiences and working with other people and other people training you.
Things are somewhat different in our trade now, and so you think that's important for new industry entrants to train and network. So in particular, I'm referring to the BMR that we have at British Metal Recycling Association, and also the apprenticeship schemes. You feel that that's a good opportunity for new entrants to come in to network and.
Definitely, Shane. It's a different industry now as it was when we grew up with our fathers working in the yard. Nowadays, with compliance, etc., the young people have got to come through and get trained in a proper manner to be in this industry. It's a big industry. It always was a big industry, but it's now an industry that's recognises, and it's a massive thing for the youngsters to come through and get trained properly.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think was the funniest thing that happened to you in those early days? I know fashion has changed a bit. We've got some great photos of you, so probably said a few.
I've got many things that have happened over the past. I suppose. A funny thing and a scary thing at the same time was it was an operation Saturday morning. We were just Saturday morning work. I was working myself on the weighbridge. I've got a couple of people in the yard, and one of our big customers across the road, the Blue Circle Cement, suddenly decided to turn up late with these 2 massive, great steel rings on it, weighed about 5, 6, probably about 10 tonne a piece. There was no one in the yard, everyone had gone. I didn't want to turn him away, so I said, I'll take it off. So I locked the office up, walked up the yard. I said, back the lorry up the yard, mate. And I got on this, we had this Hi-Mac 201, and it had been built for us with a high cab on it and a straight arm, etc. I grabbed hold of this steel ring the best I could. And bearing in mind I was at a fixed high cab, so I got it up just in the air. Got the guy to go forward, scraping the steel on the 40-foot trailer. As it fell, the trailer went away, the steel ring then came back and almost sat on my lap in the cab. So I'd actually crushed a complete high cab of the thing. As I said, right, okay, put it down on the floor, put the grab back down, went out, weighed the lorry out, and off we went, got in my car, shut the gate, went round the Salt Horse and got lost. And tried to forget about it. Until Monday morning and said, who did that? Well, I did.
Oh, that's a good story.
Yeah.
So with all that excitement going on in the industry, you and your family have found time, lots of time, to be proactive in your trade associations over the years. And I just want to ask you, why have you been so...
Well, I mean, I followed on from Dad. I mean, Dad was very, very active in BMRA, British Scrap Federation, years ago. And so he was the president, and we had the Southern Southern Metals Associations. We had all the areas had their own individual sort of regional.
I believe you were the last president, weren't you?
I was the last Southern president before the BMRA and the associations decided to disband and just concentrate on the one. It wasn't BMRA then, but the one British Metals Federation. So I was the last standing president, 1999 to 2002. So I did a 3-year stint before it was all wrapped up. And Dad was president 10 years prior to that. But I got involved because Dad got involved, and it's not all about the networking of the business, but it's the networking of the friendships as well. There's so many good people in this industry. And my dad had many, many good friends, and still has. Dad's 90 now, he's still got good friends in the industry. I have, and I include you as one of my oldest friends within the industry. And, when we were sort of local in the East Anglia area. But for me, the BMRA and the Southern, as it was then, was getting together, sorting together, helping the wider BMRA membership and other people not in BMRA to try and join the organisation as well and say, here's a good organisation. A lot of people say, well, what do we get for our money? Actually, what you get is a massive amount of ability, and people know what they're doing, and they're working for the industry. It's tough sometimes to justify the cost, but it's immense what you get out of the industry, what the BMI put in.
Yeah. So obviously, over the years, you and your family have been instrumental in shaping or help shape the industry as we are today. So what would you like to see for our industry in the future?
I want people to think outside of our industry about scrap and not think about the dodgy part of it. Or we can all look about Steptoe, but even Steptoe was a businessman. At the end of the day, what I would say is it's not a dirty industry anymore. It's a massive industry now. Teach people about what good this industry does for the planet, the Earth, working towards carbon emissions, zero emissions, etc. You've got to use this industry as a stalwart going forward to help that work.
Yeah, and it's an evolving world, and there's a lot of legislation still to come, and a lot of changes still to come in our industry, and we need people like yourself to be there to help shape that.
Yes, yeah.
Adrian, it's been an absolute privilege and honour to come down here today, and again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of the BMRA, obviously you've been voted for by members, your peers, which is obviously the highest honour anyone can have in any career. Yeah. So congratulations.
Thanks, Shane.
Well done.
Virtual handshake.
Virtual handshake.
High five. Thank you very much. On that point then, I'd just like to thank Shane, thanks for coming down here today. Appreciate it. It's a bit of a shock when I drove in the car park, expecting my chairman to see me. Thank you to Susie, thank you very much, and the hard work you put in the last few years and your second stint going forward. James, welcome on board. It's you're coming to the industry, probably one of the roughest times anyone can come in the industry. Thanks for your hard work put in. Everyone else at the BMRA and the BMRA membership in general. Welcome, have a great end to this horrible year, and thank you so much for this. Let's enjoy the virtual dinner, and hopefully we can have a glass of wine on our desks at home in our Zoom meeting. But thank you very much, appreciate it. As I say, I've stepped down from managerial roles in the company now and kept my board membership, board and shareholders within the company. I'm still passionate about the BMRA, and I want to stay on as a director of the BMRA, which they've agreed to do as well. Thank you very much. And so I shall be sort of maybe popping up in little places around the country in the next couple of years, hopefully, and seeing you all, maybe on a visit, etc. So when we're allowed to travel again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Many congratulations, Adrian, and thank you, Shane.
18 months ago, we launched a new photographic competition. Entries can be sent in throughout the year, and the winning photograph is featured in each new edition of Scrapbook and used to promote our industry. The photographs have been of such an exceptional standard that we've decided to add an annual award for Best Photograph.
The entries for this year were Dan Ewan of EMR, Melissa Downhill from Tin Man Scrap, Jacob Thrasher and Chris Matthews of Blue Group, Kirsty Tompkins of A4 Metal Recycling, the team at John Laurie Group, Lucy Martin of Rogers Metal Management LLP, another from the team of John Laurie Group, Joe Wakefield of Crow Metals. And the winner is
Dan Ewan of EMR.
Hi everyone, Ian Shepherd, Managing Director EMR and Board Member of the BMRA. Just a quick message to say best wishes to you, your colleagues and your families for the year ahead, and sorry we can't be together in person this year.
Well done, Dan. And please everyone, keep sending your photos in.
Many congratulations to Ward Recycling for being pronounced winners of the Metal Recycling Business of the Year Award at the recent Let's Recycle Awards for Excellence in Recycling and Waste Management. We would like also to send congratulations to Phoenix Metals for reaching the shortlist. Congratulations also to Y Valley Metals for being named by the London Stock Exchange as a Green Leader.
Congratulations, a great achievement by you all. At our centenary dinner in 2019, the proceeds from our silent auction were donated to the Global Recycling Foundation. And here is a video message from their founder and president, Mr. Ranjit Bakshi.
It's our future. It's our Earth. We need to protect it for what it's worth.
Dear members of BMRA, I'm delighted to join your virtual event today. May I first of all congratulate you all for your sterling effort in keeping recycling at the forefront during these challenging COVID times, providing much needed employment while supporting the environment. Please give yourselves a big hand. I must also thank your President, Susie Burrage, for her immense contribution to the world of recycling, both in UK, EU, and the global stage. Susie, I want to personally thank you for what you continue to do for us as a proud First Lady of our industry. Well done, Susie. I must also extend my sincere thanks for the money you kindly raised and donated to Global Recycling Foundation at your last dinner in 2019. The foundation, as you all know, supports the promotion of recycling and the recycling industry across the world, showcasing its vital role in preserving the future of the planet. Recycling is a collective endeavor where no one can act in isolation, and it is therefore imperative we engage the widest population possible, from BMRA members to world leaders, businesses to individuals, no matter where they are located on the planet. In 2020, Global Recycling Foundation launched a Recycling Heroes competition, wherein anyone could nominate their hero, big or small. Cities, young people, businesses from around the world were all nominated. We received over 2,000 nominations of people or companies that were championing innovative recycling practices and habits. All our entrants showcased how recycling, the seventh resource, contributes to an environmentally stable planet and a greener future for all of us. In 2021, we again will want to find out who are our recycling heroes. We will ask you to ask yourselves, who is making a difference? Who do you look up to for guidance and leadership? Who inspires you in your own recycling and environmental efforts? Winners will be announced on 18th of March 2021, our 4th Global Recycling Day. Here's a clip from one of our winners, the children from a rural Irish primary school performing their climate change rap, which subsequently went on to win the school's Eurovision Song Contest.
Just one small change in the little things we do. We'll show you how, and now it's up to you. It's our future. It's our Earth. We need to protect it for what it's worth. It's our future. It's our Earth. We need to protect it for what it's worth. Since we found out the Earth was sick, we knew we had to do something quick. The Earth is our family and our friend. We need to mend it before it ends. This is our home, so don't destroy it. Everyone should do their bit. Ice caps melting, seas getting high. Homes will be flooded, polar bears will die. The sun's getting hotter, the rain won't fall. I'm afraid we won't survive at all. Recycle the plastic, please, it's free. You don't want that ending up in the sea. It's like people use this planet as a bin. Pick up your trash, that's where you begin. Temperature is rising, we are realizing we must act now, there's no compromising. Just one small change in the little things we do. We'll show you how, and now it's up to you. It's our future. It's our Earth. We need to protect it for what it's worth. It's our future. It's our Earth. We need to protect.
Aren't they fantastic? Well done, Capaboo National School, County Cork, and I look forward to Global Recycling Day 2021.
Indeed, a date for all our diaries, March the 18th, a day for us all to unite and promote our fabulous industry. Being our centenary year in 2019, we decided to raise funds for two charities. Our second charity was Dream Drops, which was put forward by our communications executive, Kate, and we've decided to keep Dream Drops as our charity for 2020 as well. Here she is to tell you why.
When Susie asked for a President's Charity a couple of years ago, I put Dream Drops forward. Dream Drops is a Huntingdon-based children's charity that fundraises for the Special Care Baby Unit, Hollywood and Children's Services in A&E at Hinchinbrook Hospital, as well as supporting community children's services. In 2016, mine and my family's life changed forever when I gave birth to twins at 29 weeks. While one was born early but well, one required additional support with an 11-week hospital stay and a further year on oxygen, and they needed a heart operation. A nurse was required to visit our house weekly, and we had to do an element of care ourselves. We also had open access to Hollywood at Hinchinbrook Hospital, which we needed to use a few times. Dream Drops raises funds for the extras that the medical team, parents and patients need to make their lives easier, and it can be the difference between a comfortable stay in hospital and a tough one. Back in December last year, thanks to the generosity of BMRA members, Dream Drops was able to purchase AccuVein machines for the paediatric A&E to help locate children's small veins and reduce the trauma when in hospital. This year, Dream Drops is given priority to children in the community. So far, they have been able to support several requests from occupational therapists for specialist equipment that is not supplied by the NHS, to improve the lives of several individual children, as well as providing a lot of extra support for the families with autistic children who have been suffering a great deal since COVID began. They are also looking for donations of laptops and iPads that people might have upgraded from and which are still in good working order. They are also looking for a company that can clean and refurbish them at a reasonable cost. Please buy a raffle ticket, and thank you to all our generous members for donating raffle prizes. And you're probably wondering how the twins are now. They are great. They started school this year and they're doing really well.
Thank you to all our members who have made donations to the raffle. We have lots of fabulous raffle prizes. Our wonderful raffle prizes include numerous cases of wine, a selection of children's games, an M&S hamper, a luxury stay in Arden B&B, a bottle of whiskey, a £250 M&S voucher, models of machinery, a case of Tsarine champagne, a £150 Majestic wine voucher, a cheese hamper, a posh cake hamper, a Christmas hamper, a bottle of Sir Robin of Loxley gin and a £100 John Lewis voucher. For a chance to win one of our wonderful prizes, please go to justgiving.com and search BMRA, then make a donation.
Hi everyone, I'm Lynn, the BMRA's administrator. In December this year, I've been here 8 years and I've organised 7 annual dinners for the BMRA. It'll be around this time that I'd be ringing you and bugging you all for your final guests' names and your table plans. But sadly, due to the pandemic, we've had to cancel the dinner. But we have got this great virtual event, which I'm sure you'll all enjoy, and we can get together next year in person. If you haven't already purchased a raffle ticket, please buy one. We've got some really great prizes donated, and the proceeds all go to a local charity, children's charity here called Dream Drops, based in Huntingdon.
As Lynn says, please do donate and be with the chance to win one of them. I was lucky enough to visit the children's ward at Hinchinbrook Hospital after our centenary dinner to present our cheque to members of Dream Drops, and was greatly impressed with the work they do. I also got to meet Kate's lovely and healthy twin daughters. Please give generously.
No BMRA event of 2020 could possibly conclude without us mentioning Brexit. The uncertainty continues, but here to answer some of our questions is David Wilkinson of the Department for Business. David, as you can imagine, we've had a few questions from members on the topic of Brexit. Firstly, one about drivers. What do companies who employ their own drivers to transport scrap to clients in Europe need to do as of next year?
So the first thing you need to do if you're running drivers into the EU is to, as an organisation, apply for the necessary operator licences and permits. Beyond that, every driver needs to be eligible to drive in the EU. So the UK licences will no longer be eligible, so your drivers will need an international driving licence. And that is actually the case for anybody. So if you're planning to drive to the EU on holiday, for instance, you'll need to get the necessary driving licence as well. The driver will need to have the necessary vehicle registration documents as well. There's 4 points to consider here. So a vehicle security checklist, tachograph records, insurance documents and trailer registration certificates. And of course you'll need import-export documents for every journey that is made. Please search on the internet, go to gov.uk and search under road transportation.
Thanks. A question too on EU directives. Will UK companies have to follow the rules set out in EU directives after the transition period?
So, existing EU directives have already been transitioned into UK law via legislation. Now, after the transition period, new EU directives will not be incorporated into UK law. So that means that companies will not have to follow the rules of new EU directives. However, there may be instances where UK companies feel a need to voluntarily follow those rules if they improve access to the EU market.
We've had a question on immigration. Are UK companies still able to employ workers from the EU?
So the first thing to consider is that as employers, you are responsible for ensuring the eligibility of every person you employ. If you employ EU workers, please encourage them, if they've not done so already, to apply through the EU settlement scheme, and they'll be eligible to apply if they're resident up in the UK up to the end of this year, and they have until June next year to apply. Now, anyone arriving from the EU next year, or from the rest of the world for that matter, they need to navigate their way through the new points-based immigration system, and that has 3 main requirements. The first one is that the job itself must be at A-level standard. The second one is that the minimum salary is $25,600, and the third is that the applicant must be able to speak reasonable, good English. Now, there's more information on the internet. Go to gov.uk and search under immigration.
Now, there's been a lot of discussion about the Northern Ireland arrangements post-Brexit. What will happen to companies in Northern Ireland that trade with Great Britain and the Republic of Ireland?
Now, Northern Ireland trade can be a little bit more complex. So, a few points to consider. Step number one is trade between Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. So, any trade on the island of Ireland will not attract any tariffs or any export declarations and so on. It will just continue exactly as it is at the moment. So nice and simple. So step two is Northern Ireland into Great Britain. So as long as you're a UK registered company, you will be able to freely trade from Northern Ireland into Great Britain and not have to pay any tariffs. So step three, Great Britain into Northern Ireland. Now this is where it's slightly more complicated. Certain products that are considered at high risk of making their way into the Republic of Ireland will attract a tariff. Now there's a joint committee made up between the EU and the UK that will decide which product areas are considered high risk, but they haven't been established yet, so that guidance hasn't yet been published.
Will there be delays at UK ports after the transition period ends this year?
Yes, we anticipate some delays at the ports, at least initially. Now, some ports don't have the necessary capacity to hold trucks in isolation whilst they await the necessary documentation. So the government is working hard with those ports to build up the capacity, but also to take those checks away from the ports so that the ports themselves can function more smoothly on the day. It may be prudent for companies to consider baking in some contingency for such delays.
Of course, tariffs are always a concern, and our members want to know, are companies in the UK at risk of being affected by tariffs if there's no trade deal?
There will be 0% tariffs on scrap and ingot right across the different metal categories, with the exception of one area, and that is titanium. So titanium attracts a 5% import tariff into the EU and a 4% import tariff into the UK. All other metal categories are 0% tariffs.
Thank you, James and David, for that informative Q&A session. As we all know, the BMRA is now 100 years old, and I'm delighted to take this opportunity to congratulate two of our members who are celebrating their own 100-year anniversaries this year, CF Booth of Rotherham and Seaford Metals in Northern Ireland. Like many of us, they are both still family owned and managed, a wonderful achievement. One fact that escaped my notice when we were celebrating the BMRA centenary last year was that our founding association, the National Federation of Scrap Iron and Steel Merchants, started during the deadly influenza pandemic between January 1918 to December 1920. This pandemic was colloquially known as Spanish flu. It claimed up to 50 million lives globally, and at least 228,000 people died in the UK. Recyclers realised then, as we still do, the importance of unity during challenging times. Here to emphasise that need for unity is still prevalent is my fellow board member, Sue Howe.
Hi, I'm Sue Howe, Director of Wye Valley Metals and BMRA board member in my second term. Wow, what a year. I'm here today in our yard, a former munitions factory that, despite having witnessed and survived 2 world wars, has evolved into a regional recycling facility we can all be proud of. 2020 has seen all our businesses face the horrors of the pandemic. It's now our turn to evolve and move forward into 2021, to dig deep and rebuild that which we have all lost. The BMRA has a proud history of representing everyone in this amazing industry, bringing us all together with a single voice and with a common purpose. If these times of hardship have taught us one thing, it's that we're stronger when we work together.
Thank you, Wye Valley Metals. To continue the Together theme, here are some goodwill messages from your fellow members.
Hi, I'm Sean Akers from SWM Waste Recycling. As a BMRA committee member, I'd like to wish everybody the best for what's remaining of 2020. Make sure you all keep safe and well, and we'll see you in 2021.
Hi, this is James from JMC Recycling. Proud to be British manufacturers of alligator shears, cable strippers and non-ferrous balers. We also supply a wide range of recycling equipment, incline shears, shear balers and car balers. So sorry we can't be there in person to celebrate the BMRA drinking session.
Hey, you can't say that.
Oh, sorry, I meant the BMRA dinner. Stay safe, everyone.
My name is Richard Lewis from April Metals. I'm part of the BMRA committee. I just want to wish all the members all the best for the remaining part of the year. Sorry we can't meet this BMRA for dinner, but we will make up for it in 2021. All the best. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hi from Crow Metals to all our friends and trading partners of the BMRA. Sorry we cannot meet up this year with no end of year dinner in London. Hopefully 2021 will be a better year for the industry, as this one has been tough for most. The BMRA has got some great committees that are all working hard for your membership fees behind the scenes to improve our industry and keep us moving forward in the right direction. All the best from the team at Crow Metals. We are looking forward to buying more of your merchant scrap next year. Good luck for 2021.
This is David Piper. And this is Anthony Bird. We are from International Metals and Cable Recycling of Stratford-upon-Avon. Sorry not to meet you all in person for this year's BMRA dinner, but we hope to next year. Our chairman, Tony Bird, sends his best wishes to all at the BMRA. He was a leading figure in the association for many decades. We're specialist buyers in household cable, aluminium cable and all types of motors, but we deal with all non-ferrous and ferrous materials. Wishing you all the best for the rest of 2020 and hopefully a COVID-free 2021. And it's goodbye from me. And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Thank you to all of you who have submitted videos and contributed today. Sorry we couldn't show them all. Before we close, I would like to take a moment to thank our BMRA Secretariat, James, Howard, Antonia, Kate and Lynn for all they do for us. They have certainly been our rock during these turbulent times.
Well, thank you very much for your kind words, Susie. We try to support members in any way we can, and we appreciate the board's support. Congratulations on your re-election as President earlier this year, and we look forward to working with you over the next couple of years for the benefit of all BMRA members. I'd really like to thank my team and all the board and committee members for the time they devote to BMRA business so that we can collectively move the association forward and optimise the operating environment for all metal recyclers. We're grateful to all members who year after year put their faith in us to represent and support them, and it's particularly gratifying that we have recruited so many new members this year, despite these very challenging times. Going forward, we have to hope that world events are kinder to us, and that scrap metal companies will be able to devote all their energies to obtaining and processing scrap metal at a profit. The BMRA will be there for you, fighting your corner, challenging unfair restrictions, supporting your operations, promoting your successes and building beneficial relationships. We wish you all the best of luck for 2021.
Thank you, James, for your kind words. I hope you have all enjoyed our 2020 virtual annual dinner. Don't forget to make a donation to enter the raffle. Hopefully, a COVID-19 antibody vaccine programme will soon be rolled out and we will meet at the Royal Lancaster in London on Friday, November the 19th, 2021. In the interim, please stay safe and keep recycling!
Looking back, I spent my whole life trying to be the best I could be. But when my hopes and dreams it seemed were dying, I prayed the light would shine on me. I prayed the light would shine on me, and I will see the sun come up, saving my life again. Now all the doubts and the fears and all the pain and the tears have gone away. And there will be a peace of mind, for that is my destiny. Now it's easy to see that this one lucky man is me. Yes, it's easy to see that this one lucky man